Hello, all you wonderful people. Today we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, again, because what is there not to talk about with this guy? There's a lot of things to talk about this guy, and one of them is box arts, which is something that all video games have. You can't find a video game that doesn't have a box art, and Sonic is one of them. I did a retrospective on pretty much trying to do every Sonic game. I'm still working on it, alright? And one thing I haven't been talking about in those is box art changes, because as the series went on, all the box arts pretty much seem the same. But I still want to talk about the box art and its comparison with different regions and just how it looks. So let's begin and start with the first one. Here it is, the original box art for Sonic the Hedgehog. Here he is, standing there confidently wagging his finger at you. This was of course taken from the Japanese box art, which we'll take a look at a little later. This was designed by Greg Martin, who did a lot of artwork for a lot of video games, and Sonic was just one of them. I kind of like it, but at the same time, there is some problems with it. I like the backdrop here. We got Sonic and Green Hill Zone, of course, makes sense. Green Hill Zone is the first level and also will become iconic. But there's also some things that don't work. One, Sonic's hand is fucking ginormous in a weird, stretched out way. And look underneath his round belly of his leg. For some reason, one is standing out and the one is like behind. It just looks awkward. As well as the fact his belly is incredibly round. He's got this expression which works very well. It showcases a lot of attitude. You can see why they changed the Japanese version into this one. Though the only problem with this is not with this one in particular, but with one that's come later, is the fact that this face here that Sonic has right here, Greg Martin decides that he wants to use that face in every Sonic artwork he does. So yeah, I get used to seeing that in the English box art. And the most noble thing about this one, other than his kind of weird ear design, is the fact that Sonic spikes are no longer how they typically look in the sprite work in, well, modern day, but they are a mohawk. You can kind of tell that by the design, and of course a lot of the comic books and TV shows would make Straw Sonic with a round head with a blue spike mohawk, which is a design that is interesting, but it doesn't really work. But hey, I like it. In case you're wondering, here's what the full game looks like. Interesting. And here is the not for resale, because you gotta have not for resale. In Japan, Sonic is designed to look like this, and you can see where they got some inspiration from. Overall, this one looks better with the Sonic design, though he doesn't look angry, he looks pretty happy, so I guess he's not edgy enough, so let's make him look edgy. Which it definitely worked, and I would say probably sold a lot more copies. This one definitely looks better, other than the fact that the expression is just a little too, like, yeah! Which, you know, it works, and the background is pretty iconic, seeing as we got all these crazy colors and shapes going on, and how there's advertisements like the most famous hedgehog in the world, and there's a bomb text about like motivational speak that just kind of fits Sonic in a way. In case you don't know, it just says, don't just sit there and make waste your precious time. When you want to do something, do it right away. Do it on your own. It's only way to live life without regrets. Like, geez Louise, like, what do they write such inspiration in English down there? I don't know, I should know this, but do Japanese people, can they just read, like, traditional English, like, down their box, or just random thing that they don't understand? I guess probably, since I see that a lot of Japanese stuff, they can just read English, and I guess they read it in their head as Japanese. I don't know, you let me know in the comment section below. I know it sounds really stupid. But yeah, this one is pretty noteworthy, because that Sonic, of course, became the standard classic Sonic, and the old one was kind of ditched. But the most famous thing about it is the fact that the backdrop, the colors and shapes, well, that'll be for all the main 3 classic Sonic games in Japan, as well as some other ones. But it'll be even reused in second generations to kind of be used as the main motif. Even the mobile versions have that shape look. It works very well. I like it. It is better than the English version, but the English version definitely has elements I like. I do like the Green Hill Zone background. I do like more of his attitude. In a way, they're a bit of hit or miss, but, you know, it works. In case you're wondering, here's the full cover of Sonic 1 on Genesis like in Japan. Or Mega Drive, not Genesis. Sorry. And here's what the European version of Sonic the Hedgehog looks like, which is very much in line with the Japanese version. Except this time it has a white background, the shapes are no longer colorful, and you got outlines of Eggman, a Pocky, and a Flicky. It's alright, though if you want to get this style with the original Japanese, it look much better. And what's interesting about this is also the Canadian version, and the only difference you can tell between the two, one says Genesis, and one says Mega Drive. Crazy. And also here's the full cover of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive on Europe, which is not as good as the Genesis version, or, well, the Japanese Mega Drive, because PAL regions run a little slower, and Sonic moves a little slower over there on the original hardware. Pretty interesting. Look it up. But that's not just it. We have the Brazil version, which also uses the European one, except now the background there is a little darker. It has a little tint to it. It's produced by Tectoy, and for the most part isn't too far off from the European / Canadian release cover art of that. So that's pretty interesting to see there. And the last one is from Korea, or more specifically South Korea here, which uses that same stock Sonic profile with a bunch of Sonic icons all around him, which is, you know, kind of funny. They repeat a lot of the same ones. I don't know why they decided to do that. It's spinning ball. And this, of course, this was made by not Sega, but Samsung, because of a long history that goes far. Basically, there's a certain thing about Japanese products in Korea due to their not so great history. Look at World War II for information. So Samsung, who is a Korean company, did a lot of game stuff, though a lot of video games weren't as popular in Korea on the home market, because a lot of those were being made by Japanese companies, and so instead Korea really stuck onto the PC market, and even though some of the other companies really tried to get a hand over there, but you know, there's a lot very interesting video on that, so you go find videos on that if we want more information about that. But here we're talking about Sonic, and this one is just pretty bland, honestly. Probably the worst one, because the Sonics around the Sonic is just very weird. And yeah, there you go. Let's go on to Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But screw that, we're going in depth. Here's Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System, the 8-bit version, which for here, even in North America, they just use the traditional Japanese artwork with just rings in the background in Green Hill Zone. It looks pretty stock, actually. The rings look really crappy. The Green Hill Zone doesn't really match the Sonic there, and you know, it's fine. It could be a lot worse. Have you seen some other Master System artwork in America? Some of them are really awful. Just like here's a hand, because they had to keep this checkerboard pattern for Master System games. I have no idea why they thought that was a good idea. There's just Sonic there, chilling in Green Hill Zone, even though the rings are clipping through issue there. The Brazilian version seems to be similar. Then you look at it and you notice that Sonic has been moved over the checkerboards onto the ocean with a shadow there, which is really strange. And even lower res, and the text is also like changed to be plain, really plain, and you know, they put the Tectoy there. It's very strange. It's the same, but they changed it to where it looks worse. I have no idea why they did that, but there's the Brazilian Master System version. For most people who have played this game in America on the Game Gear, and of course we have another illustration by Greg Martin, which did not land with the Master System version, which is pretty interesting. You know, they are pretty much the same exact game here. You got the same Sonic expression, but he's running this time, with Buzz Bombers behind him and Eggman in the background. This game cover actually, in a way, I prefer over the main Sonic one. It works pretty well. The artwork of the backgrounds I like quite a lot. Eggman looks pretty in character there, even though he's pretty far off. You got enemies there, but Sonic's running away, cocky, like, yeah, I'm fast. He gets the point across. It works. It's better than the, I think it is better than the official cover art for the main game. And Europe agreed, as their version of the game is pretty much exactly the same cover art, just different backing, because Europe and America had different cover art for Game Gear games. Don't know why. Though the Japanese version, of course, is going to look pretty different. Here it's square, because all the Game Gear games in Japan were square, and we have all the official artwork of all the Badniks there, including all the animal friends, and Eggman, and a little funny walker thing. It's cute, and there's even like that same backing artwork we see in the Master System version, but this time it's kind of the back, but it's not like a main thing. It kind of works, at the same time it's kind of weird. I like it, but I'm not in love with it. And here is the Tectoy version, which is just the American artwork, but this time cropped in a weird way. Like, I don't know why there's that thing in the middle, bottom middle there, like why I had to go up like that. It just looks really weird. But yeah. And here we go. Here is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, for real this time. This one's a pretty iconic. Sonic has the same exact expression again, but this time he's crossing his arms with his new buddy Tails, who looks fine there. Nothing too bad there. And then we got this giant tube being crushed by Eggman. At first, everything looks fine. It works pretty well. Like, it's threatening. But it's like, yeah, we got this. But then you look at Eggman, or Robotnik at this time, and you're like, what the fuck's going on there? He's got black soulless eyes. He has 4 fingers, even though Sonic has 5. And he's got a beard? Is that a mustache? It's demented looking. It's disturbing. And is that a beard? Where's his chin? Like, ugh, I don't like it at all. Ugh. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Everything but Eggman or Robotnik looks fine. But yeah, what the hell's going on there? Well, Europe must have liked it, because they also have the demented Eggman in the background. This time the Mega Drive kind of crops his eyes a little bit, but maybe that's a good thing. and this time it has a yellow and orange checkerboard thing kind of going on there. It's whatever. However, in Japan, they still kept their traditional style there, with less shapes going on there. Now we got Sonic and Tails posing. Pretty nice, you know. They even got Sonic and Tails' name like merging between the eyes, because they're one and the same. Oh yeah, there's another quote. Don't just sit there and waste your precious time, or you won't want to do something. Do it right away. Do it when you... Fuck, I can barely read this. Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing it this way. Do it in the only way, time you can route regrets. Wow. And Sonic's still the most famous hedgehog, I guess. This is Sonic Team Presents. Well, isn't that swell? Yeah, it's a little... Actually, kind of, in a way, I kind of do prefer the American version, even though Eggman looks pretty bad. But this one's fine. And the Brazil version is the same artwork as the American one, but this time it's zoomed in, so you don't see Eggman's face for the most part. I don't know how I really feel about that, but, you know, whatever. Though strangely, there is a second version that looks way worse. I don't know how official this is. This is on the official wiki. I found this. But, yeah, like, it's been stretched, but also, like, brushed differently. The font for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is different in a way that looks really badly cropped. I don't know why this looks so bad. It's official, by the way. I don't know why it looks this terrible, but it does. And here's an Australian cover, which I guess was just regular, but they had this gold collection for Sonic 2, and I don't know what the hell this was really about, because whatever this is looks really bad. It's all black, and there's like, I guess there's gold. Maybe it looked better in person. Maybe it was like, it was gold, but just having the Sonic 2, and just the little image of the actual official artwork in between this like really what looks like a generic manual thing, it's pretty bad cover art. And the last for Sonic 2 on the Genesis is the Korean one, which is pretty much identical to the Japanese one, except it has a little bit more Korean text there. And that's about it. Just change some of the Japanese text to Korean, and that's it. Anyway, here's the box art for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Master System, which was not released in America. However, this cover art here by Greg Martin is pretty much the same throughout the Game Gear version too. You've got Sonic hang gliding, which makes it look pretty cool, but then you play the actual game, the hang glide's terrible. He's giving the thumbs up while doing it, saying he's got no problem. There's more enemies, including, well, look, just generic birds with the helmets, which I don't even think are even in the game. It might be, but they don't look anything like that. We got the generic stock Eggman artwork again. This time Tails running with silver shoes, I guess? I don't know what's going on there. It's fine, it's eye-catching, and, you know, it's alright. Not just the regular Master System cover. Tech Toy version, the Brazilian version, showcases more of the artwork from the top, though I guess the quality here is not that great. They probably look better in person, but, you know, it's pretty similar, just really low quality from the scan. And pretty much the Game Gear version looks exactly the same, so let's move on pretty quickly. The Japanese cover art for Sonic 2 on Game Gear is just literally the same as the Genesis cover, just Game Gear font instead, so pretty lame. And same goes for Europe, which is for the Game Gear, just the same, but this time there's a green bar at the top there. I don't know why there's a green bar, it just exists, deal with it. And now we're on to Sonic CD, which this is another Greg Martin artwork. This one is pretty... I like it. It's the first time that he doesn't draw Sonic the same exact expression. He's in an interesting pose where it looks like he's jumping out of an exploding UFO from the special game, I guess. He's like looking up like, yeah, I got time. So Metal Sonic's also there in all his glory, like trying to stop Sonic. It looks like the angle's kind of weird there. But you got this beautiful backdrop of like Earth in the background, or maybe Mobius, you know. Whereas we're on space, I guess on a little planet. Well, who knows? It's very dynamic and very eye-catching. And I guess it's pretty nice. It's probably one of the best of the classic Sonic Greg Martin designs. I like it quite a bit. But let's see if the other one's going to run for money. Sonic CD in Japan, I don't know. I like the art, but the rest of it just looks kind of cheesy. It doesn't really match with it. It's a Sonic and Metal Sonic fighting. Sonic's like kind of angry, but he also has a weird blue hand shield thing. And Metal Sonic's just kind of like there, like, yeah, it doesn't really work for me. And the outlines this time of the shapes just don't work. There's another message there at the bottom there. To live a life of power, we must have faith that what we believe is right. And doing, if others tell you, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean. You can read it yourself. I'm not going to read it anymore. I don't know, this one's fine, but it doesn't do much. The fight in the center doesn't match the background on the side. It kind of gives off like a weird Aztec vibe, which doesn't fit the game at all. So this little sun thing in the center, yeah, this one, I don't like this one, sorry. Oddly enough, the European one uses the similar artwork from the Japanese one, but just zoomed in really much, just them like angry at each other, and it works better like with the game. Like there you go, Sonic CD, no Sonic the Hedgehog CD, just Sonic CD. I still think the American one's better, but this one is definitely better representation of what was trying to go on in the Japanese one. Pretty cool. Alright, next we have Sonic the Hedgehog Chaos, or just Sonic Chaos. Here, like the previous Game Gear title, Sonic is using one of the power-ups, but instead of a cool hangover, he's just on a spring. No idea why they chose that as the main thing. And Tails, well, he looks like shit. Like the way his ass is in the air and the tail's drawing, and Sonic has the same expression. It's just kind of bad. They're also in, like this zone to the game, which looks kind of interesting to see that kind of rendered out. But there's like a brick breaking. It's kind of a weird element. And then there's Eggman in the background. Just black Solus eyes again. He looks like shit. Not very good. It's fine for a glance look, and I like kind of like the elements of the stage into the artwork, but everything else I don't like. In case you're wondering, this is what they originally look like. Yeah, this is the original American box art looks like. It looks like shit, so glad they changed it. Well, actually, both of them don't look that great, but this one looks really bad. Here's the Japanese version. As you can see, the game is not called Sonic Chaos, it's called Sonic and Tails. And look at that, under the tails you see two little tail icons. You got some of that classic Japanese Sonic box art. I forgot the artist who did them. They kind of look pseudo 3D, but they're not. Yeah, we got them posing together, like doing like a Team Rocket pose there. And some of the other things, the shape stuff is alright. It's fine. I think it probably is better by than the North American one. That's only because the North American one kind of sucks ass. But you know, it doesn't have the same dynamic as some of the other Japanese box arts. Here's the European box art, pretty much exactly the same, just their unique version of the Game Gear font stuff. Not type font, what am I saying font? Design. The game was released on Master System, and there it got a different artwork there. Sonic and Tails jumping through the air, I guess. Well, Tails flying looks kind of weird. Sonic, it's not, is it Greg Morin who did it? It looks like they're trying to imitate that style. But here's the first zone, you see more of the Badniks, stuff like that. Some of the actually not Badniks, the mini bosses, which I actually like, because they actually are a big part of the game, where instead of fighting Eggman, you only fight him at the very end, and you fight these little mini bosses, and that's kind of neat to see. It's a pretty generic island setting. It's not great, but I think it works better than what we got with the Game Gear artwork. Next up is Sonic Spinball, a game made by Americans, so of course we're looking at the American box art first. Also, I'm biased because I'm from America, even though America kind of sucks nowadays, unfortunately. So this is the box art for Sonic Spinball, which is pretty basic. Sonic's legs are now a pinball. The bumper about to hit him on one of the rails into the pinball castle of Eggman, and there he is with his black soulless eyes, with no gloves on his hands. It's fine. We've seen kind of similar artwork, but it's pretty much the same we've seen of him before. Though oddly enough, the Game Gear version, which we'll see just now, changes Eggman's design. It's the same artwork, but they change his design. Like, for some reason, he now has the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog design. Also, Sonic's quills were changed to be more look like how he actually does look in you know how he's supposed to look. It's kind of the non-Mohawk design, just the regular design. It's pretty strange, actually, but you know, whatever. Like, yeah, here's Sonic looking more like Sonic, and here's Eggman looking less like Eggman. Like, okay, weird choice, but whatever. There was apparently going to be a PC port of the game, which is pretty new to me. And here's what the artwork would look like for that game, but apparently they decided, like, this game sucks, we're not going to release it on PC. They didn't release it in Game Gear. Like how the pinball thing has been kind of cropped on the logo, and just Sonic zoomed in on it. It's weird. The European version is pretty much just a better look at what's going on in the artwork, which is fine. Some of it's blocked off, some of it isn't. It's fine. But this is where Japan's like, you know what, this game isn't even made in America, but we're gonna have the best box art, because screw you. And yeah, this is the best box art of the game. The logo looks great, Sonic has a great pose there, the Technicolors going on there, he's like changing color, it works really, really well. There's no inspirational quote on this one, but you know what, I like it a lot. It's one of the best Japanese box arts. I wasn't really going to include in this game, because I was trying to do like more of the main 2D platformers, but you know, I might as well include Dr. Robotnik's Amiibo Machine, because this is a really weird game. It's basically a translation of Puyo Puyo, but with Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog skin, minus Sonic. There's like no Sonic in the game, which is kind of strange. The font is pretty okay, but just like Eggman's adventure design, pointing at beans, turning into robots with Scratch, Coconuts, and Grounder there. It's alright, nothing special, but for what it is kind of strange to think about. And in case you're wondering, the European version is pretty much the same. However, what is weird is that The France version has brand new artwork that actually emulates the gameplay better of the Puyo Puyos coming down, and Eggman's or Robotnik here, slamming on the thing as they come out of the machine. I guess some of them are angry. And you know what? It is pretty fun. I actually like this one a bit more, even though the artwork isn't as great. The concept is pretty cool. I like it. I also like the logo better, too. It just looks great. I like it. It works. Now we're on to Sonic the Hedgehog 3, one of my favorite games. Sonic's in that same Greg Martin facial face. This time he's holding up 3 fingers, because this is Sonic 3. You got Knuckles hiding in the bushes there. Tails looks actually fine there. Some of the other Greg Martin tails look pretty weird. And Eggman in his first boss fight, burning down part of the forest of Angel Island. It looks very lush and green. It fits the tone of the first level. I like it. I like it quite a lot. Even though Sonic looks a little derpy, he looks a little too fat there. Europe decided they were going to make their own version of the game cover. And here it is. It's awful. This is literally one of the worst Sonic boxers I've ever seen. So Sonic there is like in a really weird pose, like he's almost doing the adventure pose, but he's got a mohawk thing still going on there, but one of his spikes is connected to the mohawk. He's got weird like triangle eyes, and he's pointing, but also doing a 3, but in the way it is, like he's saying 4 instead of 3, but no, we gotta ignore that. There's a generic looking Knuckles down there, like he's like shaking his fist, I guess. He looks like shit. And then the background is like a really stock, like clip art version of Carnival Night of all zones. Like, why Carnival Night? That doesn't fit the tone of the game at all. And then the logo, just Sonic 3 with a big 3. Where's the hedgehog? Like, come on, Europe, you failed miserably. You get an F- for this one. This one's so ugly. I would say it's the worst one. There's going to be one later on that's way worse. Also from Europe. We'll get to that when we get to that. In Japan, well, it does what it does. It has the shapes. This time Sonic's doing a 3, not a 4, with Knuckles just sitting there. I like it. He's the most famous hedgehog again. He's the most famous hedgehog in the world. Sorry, I didn't read that part. Yeah, it works. It's about the same style as the first one. I like it. But I still think the American one's slightly better. Just slightly. I have, no idea where this one is from. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog 3, quote-unquote, Asia. So this one is the only one that I don't know what this is. This is for Asia, and then apparently it is not for resale in Japan and in Korea, but everywhere else in Asia, I guess like China and India, but whatever. Everywhere else, Malaysia, this is what the cover they got. I don't get it. Here's a Brazilian one, which isn't very far off from the North American one, just with this Tech Toy logo and all that. It's fine, they didn't ruin it, even though the hedgehog part is cutting off Eggman's face there. I guess they really don't like looking at Eggman's face in Brazil. We can't blame them. And lastly, here's the Korean one, which has very little going on here. There's actually very little text of anything even tell you what console it is, other than Samsung and a little bit of Korean in the top left. There's not a lot going on here, but but it's probably the best, clearest version of the Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It feels like a poster. There you go. So Sonic and Knuckles is going to be quick because there's not a lot to say here. It's just Sonic and Knuckles' face attached to each other with a lock-on technology. You'd see that, like it's locking onto each other, and it's just lock-on technology. It's simple, but it works very well. I like it. When I say they're pretty much exactly the same, nothing to say here. Well, the European version, well, it looks pretty much the same, just a different font logo. This one actually showcases putting a game on top of a game there. Though the strange thing is Sonic and Knuckles 7 showing what's supposed to be locked onto, which is Sonic 3. It showcases Sonic 2 in there, which is strange. I mean, yeah, you can't lock on to Sonic 2, but the main draw was to lock on to Sonic 3 to get the whole game, but whatever, I guess Sonic 2 is a nice little bonus. In Japan, well, it's pretty much the same thing, this time with white and blue thing. The American one looks better, that's about it. And apparently Sonic races through the green fields. The sun races through a blue sky fields with white clouds. The way of heat is much like the sun. Sonic runs and rests. The sun rises and sets. Don't give up on the sun. Don't make the sun laugh at you. What the fuck does that mean? Here's the Asian version of Sonic and Knuckles. I don't know what Asian means. It's kind of weird, but yeah, here it is. The Tech Toy version is pretty much the same as the other ones too, and so is the Korean version. Let's move on. Here we go, Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble. Like the other Game Gear games, Sonic is of course using one of the power-ups, this time a snowboard, which works for his character as he would be using a snowboard in multiple other games. Here we got Eggman's fat face, who looks like the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik, but this time with white eyes and weird buck teeth. I don't like that. Knuckles is doing that weird pose he did in the European box art with his fist up, like, yay, get off my lawn! in a weird smirk. I don't know what's going on. But there's Fang. That's pretty neat. He's in the box server game. Isn't that cool? He's holding up a gem. Maybe it's a Chaos Emerald. Who knows? It's fine. Sonic looks a little bit more in character there. He still's got a bit of a mohawk, but, you know, I like it. It kind of makes you think it's a snowy game, but it really isn't, but, you know, whatever. Apparently, the Triple Trouble is going to have a completely different box art here. If you couldn't tell, it looks like it was just a generic sketch there. Like maybe one of the comic arts did it. Sonic looks fine, but if you look at Tails there, it's kind of hard to see, but he looks like shit. Here's the European version of the box art, which, yeah, it makes you realize that Eggman's head looks really dumb here, because you could really see it's floating in midair there, as we get to see more of the artwork there. But yeah, you can see more of Fang and Knuckles and Sonic there, but just the Eggman floating head looks terrible. They should have got rid of that entirely. And here's the Japanese box art revealing that this is actually Sonic and Tails 2! Holy crap! Yeah, this one, the box art's not that great. Sonic just pointing at Tails, looks really derpy. It's fine, but it's not great. And here's the Brazilian version. Apparently the same as the other ones. This is Sonic Drift. I'm putting it in here, even though there's only one box art. And yeah, there it is. Sonic's in a car. Why the hell is he in a car? It has some of the Sonic classic, little colorful shapes kind of going on, but not really. All the characters are in the car. Eggman's is Eggmobile. Tails is in a alright car, and it looks right for him. Sonic's in a red car. It's kind of weird looking, and Amy's in a car with a face. I don't know. It just has a face. Don't ask me. Sonic Drift 2, unlike the first one, was released outside the US, and here's the box art for that. Since all of them actually have the same box art, all of the European and Japan, I'm going to look at a higher res version, take a better look at it. Here's the Japanese, which allows you to see more of what's going on. Still not very high res, because no one took a good copy of the box art, but who really cares about Sonic Drift 2? Here you actually can see that it was actually cut out of the European and American ones, that Fang was there, but his cart's falling off, he's falling out. As well as Sonic's rushing into Amy's talking car, and Eggman's also falling off. Geez Louise, it looks chaotic. But Sonic's out front, he's giving the thumbs up, even though, why is he in a car? He could just run faster than everybody else, but whatever, who cares? Alright, here's Knuckles Chaotix here. As you can see, this one has been clowned on because it looks really dumb. One, why is there an alien? Why is that the Baddick they chose? It looks like a random alien. It looks like a fun theme park, but then we got the ring system, which is now an elastic band instead of the magical sparks. Knuckles looks okay there, and everything else is fine. But then Vector looks really off-model there. It doesn't look like him at all. It's kind of goofy, but I kind of like it. It's kind of colorful. It's not awful. We've seen worse, but, you know, it's still bad. Compare that to the Japanese one, which has their sprite work, but use the smudge brush. People say this one's pretty good. The concept is good. The execution is not. It's just the sprites from the game, but someone used the smudge brush on them, and it looks like shit. Sorry. Conceptual, it could have been cool, but yeah, it sucks. Also, if you couldn't tell, this game originally is just called Chaotix, which is neat. Here's the European version, and it's pretty much just a flipped version of the American one. Except this time, the bottom showcases all the characters in the game, other than Eggman. I guess Mouse Sonic also gets a little thing. So that's neat. Next, we're looking at the best Sonic game, Sonic Labyrinth, which isn't the best game, but you know what, I like it. Here, it looks like it's just a pinball game, which maybe it kind of is, where Sonic's in one of the levels designs in the spinball area. It kind of looks weird. We look at close at Sonic, like spikes, the animation looks weird. He's hitting off stuff, but it's neat. The funny thing about it is that if you look in behind the logo for Sonic Labyrinth, you actually can see that Eggman is apparently it looks like he's playing a pinball game with Sonic, which is not actually the game, but it is funny to think that maybe that's what they were trying to imply there. The European one's slightly different, with a more, well, kind of shitty looking background there. The level is trying to emulate what the game looks like, but there's a giant key and bubbles and weird clouds and shit. Sonic's like, yeah, I got a key, gotta unlock that key. But there's also, okay, yeah, it looks like crap, but it's kind of funny. Sonic looks okay, I guess, but everything else around the background looks like shit. And here's the Japanese version, which is also what was used in the American one, except it's higher quality. And the logo is bizarrely like a labyrinth. Why is it like Labyrinth? Were they trying to copy the Jim Henson film? Maybe. You also can see Eggman a bit clearer there. This time he's holding his hands up. But, you know, it's fine. I think the American one does a better job of its logo. But, yeah, it's kind of weird seeing, an Eggman god in the background. Jeez. Anyway, I'm covering all the main games here, okay? Even Tails Sky Patrol. Here's Tails Sky Patrol's cover art. It looks like that. And whoever did the scan of it left a fucking sticker residue on there. Tails looks fine. He's fine with a ring, what he does throughout the game, of course. And the other enemies look really weird. And there's the witch on our witch cart. Yeah. Here's Tails Adventure. By this point in time, pretty much all the Japanese and English box art were pretty much the same. So you're going to see that they haven't really changed much here. Tails is in this little sea fox, I believe that's what it's called. I forgot. As the bird army is like around him, surrounding him. It represents the game pretty well. The cannon shot from one of the boats doesn't look that great, but it's fine. Here's the Japanese version, which looks more zoomed in, and it says Tails Adventures. Even the Japanese font has a little tail, and for the Tails part, which is pretty cute. I like that. And the European one's the same, but flipped. You can see a bit of that more gunship better, but also the logo, the font for Tails Adventure looks like way worse than the other one, so yeah, that's downgrade. Sonic 3D Blast's artwork looks like ass. I talked about this in my review of the game, but yeah, it doesn't look very good. It's the first game to use pre-rendered models for the game art and even the logo. I talked a lot about it there. It looks like crap. They use a smudge tool to make it sound like he's going fast. The 3D model looks like crap. The weird smile, the weird caterpillar thing in the background, the bad branches in the back. It looks like crap. And this one even had pre-versions of it, meaning there's older versions. Both of them don't look good. But then there's this. I don't know what to say. This is just literally the worst Sonic model I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know what's going on there. I don't like the way he looks at me. I don't like the fact his pupils are detached from his eyes. I don't like how his left eyebrow looks different than his right eyebrow. I hate how his ears look. I hate how his spikes look. I don't know what's behind him. I hate how the game's called Sonic 3D Flicky's Island. Like, what does that even mean? I hate it. It gives me nightmares. In case you're wondering, the Brazil version looks exactly the same as the American version. What doesn't look exactly the same is the Korean version, which has Sonic jumping in the air from the Saturn cover, which we'll look at shortly. A weird green background that's kind of looks like green muddy water with a smudge tool. Whatever. I would say the Saturn version of the cover looks better, but this still has some flaws. The pre-render still looks like crap, and his hands, don't look at his hands too long, they look like crap, even really bad. The background also looks like crap, but it's still better than the Genesis version. But that's not saying much, is it? The Japanese version has this really weird artwork where Sonic's pupil is winking, but nothing else is. It's also called 3D Flicky's Island, which I don't like that name at all. What is this? I don't get it. It looks like a weird album cover. Oh, in case you're wondering, the Saturn version in Europe also had that demented Sonic face. You're welcome. The PC version of the game cover had an edited version of the Saturn cover, but it just looks worse. Somehow they changed it to make it look worse. I don't know why. And of course, there's Sonic Blast. It has a lot of the same problems as the Sonic 3D Blast, but, you know, this time it's a worse game. There's Sonic, pre-rendered model, looks like shit. He has nothing in his eyes. He looks like he's dead inside. Running through whatever hell's in the background. It's like a lava level, who knows. The Japanese version is called G-Sonic. G-Sonic. I don't know why it's called G-Sonic, don't ask me. And there's Sonic and Knuckles and Eggman. They look fine, other than Eggman not having legs. But yeah, it's better. And for some reason they call the Game Gear the Kids Gear? I don't know what the fuck that's about. Here's a European version of Sonic Blast. It's not much better than the American one. I guess it's slightly better, but it still looks like shit. And here is the Master System version of Sonic Blast, only released in Brazil, for all you people who really want to play Sonic Blast on the Master System, which is nobody. And here's the box art for Sonic Extreme, which looks like crap. It's another pre-rendered Sonic thing with a Extreme logo, this time for real. And it doesn't look very good, and unfortunately this game never came out. Wah, wah. Anyway, we're on the second to last game I'm going to be covering for this video. It's Sonic R. They're, once again, pre-rendered models, released as a 3D game, so that makes sense. These ones don't look as nowhere near as bad as this 3D Blast one. They look actually pretty competent. I like it. The background looks like crap. I don't know what's going on there. Some of the motion blur there. Knuckles and Tails does not look fine. Eggman in the background is kind of funny. You got the nice 3D R. For a nice, good game. Sonic R is a good game, so fuck you if you say it's bad. I hate you. I love it. The Japanese version isn't much different, so it's more zoomed in and it's cropped in a way that doesn't look as good as the Japanese one. And yeah, it's not as good. The PC version of Sonic R here actually lets you zoom out and see what's actually going on. You see the background looks really bad and it shows a blur effect, and you can see Eggman a bit better. Yeah, the way this is cropped, it looks really bad. Don't like it. But you know what? The Japanese version of the game, I do like the cover up. It has all the main starter racers there in their polygonal look for the game, which actually makes sense for what it is. I like it a lot. The last game I'm covering, since I'm only doing the classic Sonic covers for this video, next time I'll do some of the other ones, but here we go, is Sonic Jam, which was a very important collection for the people in Japan, not for America so much. But yeah, Sonic Jam, which has a nice artwork of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Looks like they're jumping down the ring into a blue background. It's fine until you see the Japanese version of this. The European version looks like this. The background's slightly different, but the same artwork. And honestly, the backdrop doesn't really fit that well, but it's alright, it works. The Japanese version, on the other hand, is fire. It does them jumping out the ring. This time it has that pop art that from the original games day of the colorful shapes. It just looks great, and it is a great way to end this video. There are so many Sonic covers to cover, and I just did so many of the classic games that I decided I wanted to save the others for another part. So if you like it, let me know. I can do a part 2 while I do the adventure era game covers. Until then, thank you for watching. See ya soon.